on grades and standards in millets. Coming to the definition of standard, a standard is a published document that establishes a common language and contains a technical specification or other precise criteria and is designed to be used consistently as a rule, a guideline, and comes into a gazette. And it is having the authority to follow for the parameters. So the authority, once it decides the parameters, it will come into a authorized document and released as a gazette. So the grain standards are vital in structured trading systems. So suppose you want to trade any product, food product or any product, you need to have very important parameters that are acceptable to the consumers. Unless you define the different parameters of the product that you are trading, it is very difficult in the sector of food, especially because food is related to the human health. So many of the factors that are important and go for grading and also for developing the standards is very important because the food we need to have certain parameters limited contamination and also the identify the toxigenic principles which are causing damage to the human health. For example, mycotoxins. So the government of India has a body, Food Safety Standards Authority of India Limited. So this body comes under the Department of Food and Ministry of Food. It comes, and then this body is responsible for the determination of various food products, determination of the standards and grades for the all of the products that are in the trade and in the export. So grain standards means that all the cereal grains are to be pulses grains and oilseed grains which are commonly used by the consumers should be having particular standards and grades. So that is why they specify the grain characteristics and the limits are acceptable for each characteristic and for the sample that we are measuring. So once we measure a sample, we get a certification for the product. And again, whenever you sell this, complete the selling of this product, you need to do the standards for the product every time and submit the sample details and the data to the FSSAI to give a certificate. With a certificate only, you can go to the market like supermarket or the very authorized markets and disciplined markets. So that facilitates production, processing, and inspection of the grain. So once you receive the certificate and go to the market, the consumers are very keen on the certification. And once the certificate is available and labeled on the packet, they are sure that the product is very clean. So they identify economic factors that are important to the end users and also the health factors. They establish a common language and set of rules between trading partners. If everyone knows that what is meant by moisture content or aflatoxin and knows how to measure it, they can be confident that they are talking about the same thing when they buy or sell the grain. So, but we need to create awareness. Nowadays, the sellers, we have farmers among the sellers. And we also have the farmer producer organizations where we can give training to the people about these parameters that they have to be very keen for the products. So the product should be clean and devoid of all these contaminants and also very clean. So they ensure food safety because they cover some of the main factors that can reduce food quality and harm consumers. So we need to ultimately the FSSAI certification leads to the quality of the food. So they facilitate the trade. Grain products can be readily accepted in other parts of the country, in other countries or regions. But definitely you can export with a clean grain can be export through the help of EPIDA, that is the Export Authority of Ministry of Commerce. And when you have this certification, FSSAI certification, and the certification, the parameters, the standards that should match with the import countries. So the countries that are interested in importing these products, again the parameters should match. Then only the particular grains can be exported to the particular country by the seller. The common language makes domestic, regional, and international trade easier and prevents technical barriers to trade. So, FSSAI, what it means is we need to have a common language, whether it is a domestic product or a regional product or an international product. So, we need to make these standards as per the international trade so that we can export to different countries wherever they are necessary. And for example, we are in millets, so we need to develop standards for millets, and I will come to the point next. They support the food security by making it easier to import and export the grain and transport it to where it is needed. So once you have a certification, you have a labeling for the food quality and the quality of the product that is being imported or exported or transported. You can assure for a uh, legal process, whether you import or export or transport. So they promote quality by providing incentive to grain producers and handlers for ensuring that the grain is good quality and by setting requirements for packaging and transport. So once you are ensured with the good quality of the grain, you can pay more price because the end user must have spent a lot of the seller must have spent a lot of money in cleaning the grain and separating the quality grain. So they form a basis for pricing. So once they fix the price, including the cost of labor that is involved in cleaning the grain, because people know what grade the grain is, they can decide how much to buy and sell it for. And the grain standards help in safety, quality, sampling, and test methods. Safety requirements cover things that may harm the consumer. The presence of mycotoxins and other poisonous substances, pesticide residues, and physical materials like stones, pieces of metal, etc. Quality requirements cover other things that processors or consumers may be concerned with, such as moisture content, which broken grains, diseased grains, and foreign matter. Suppose the moisture content is not the specific range, then there is a chance of getting the product spoiled very early. So the shelf life will come down. So the sampling and test methods cover the procedures to be used in taking representative samples for analysis, and authorized FSSAI testing labs. You have to give the product a sample, representative sample for analysis and get the certification. And for the entire lot, you can get one certificate and can export or transport the product to wherever it is required. So standards for grain and their products in each country are set by national bodies, and governments implement them in their marketing. Food Safety Standards Authority of India, as I told you earlier, FSSAI is the authorized body in India. These standards are mostly based on international standards published by Codex. The Codex Alimentarius Commission of the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United States, that is FAO, and World Health Organization, ISO, International Organization for Standardization, TPC, International Plant Production Convention. So based on the parameters and their ranges of standards, the international standards of these organizations were taken into consideration, and that the standards, grades and standards were developed for each and every product. So coming to millets, we do not have specific standards for the millets. Standards usually classify the grain into several grades to make it easy for people in the grain business to know what they are dealing with. Grade 1 is the best grade. It has the highest quality and is likely to fetch the highest price. Grade 2 and 3 and so on are lower quality. They may contain higher amounts of foreign matter, damaged grain, etc. But nevertheless, when the price is less, people, normal consumers, ordinary consumers will go to purchase this type of grain and they clean on their own. So that is why grades 2 and 3 are also allowed to trade. And with regard to farmers, a farmer can get a higher price for a bag of grade 1 grain. If the grain has not been graded, it is very important that the farmer has to know about this grading so that he will get a higher price for his quality grain. And a buyer is confident that the grains is of particular quality, so he is willing to pay a higher price. So once the grade 1 grain is available in the market, if the buyer is interested and he is of confident that this grade 1 quality is good, he will go for that. So the farmers will get a higher price while procuring this, while selling it to the supermarkets. A warehouse operator can check the grain when it arrives and make sure its quality is maintained while it is in the warehouse, and while packing also he can separate the grain as per the grades like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. A trader can announce if he wants to buy or she wants to buy the grade 2 grain, and everyone knows exactly the quality of the grain he or she is interested. So grade 1 is topmost quality and grade 2 and 3 are having minimal contaminations. And grain trading in local markets and also grain trading in structured markets has a difference. Like in structured markets, you need to have the certification, whereas in local markets, you don't need to have certification, but nevertheless, the price will be less. The local town markets are agricultural commodity markets. And public and private sector involvement, adapting standards in a country takes time and effort. But in India, we developed the standards for millets, and the many government agencies that regulate the agricultural trade and food safety, including the national standards organizations, encourage this type of trading and maintaining the quality with minimal contamination, so that we have a authorized quality product in the market from the beginning. And grades and standards coming to the millets, there are 8 millets popularly grown in India, and each grain is different. And each of them needs its respective standards and grades with respect to procurement and proximate analysis and shelf life. So Rajasthan is the largest producer of pearl millet, while Maharashtra tops in sorghum production. Karnataka is the largest producer of finger millet, followed by states such as Gujarat, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh in that order. And the requirements of all millets is similar. So we need to have a common standard for all millets. So rest of the millets are less popular, but nevertheless, we need to have a clean grain in the market. Otherwise, the consumer are very keen on the health point of view. So they are interested in consuming the millets for their better health. So for that reason, we need to supply a very clean grain into the market. Otherwise, we lose the confidence of the consumers, because once the clean grain is not supplied to the market, the consumer will lose faith, that he will think that all millets will be having will not be clean, and there will be some sand particles or foreign grains, etc. So that sort of feeling should not be there with the consumer, because the consumption of millets is slowly picking up now. So we need to have these general requirements which are defined for millet grains. The clean, wholesome, uniform in size and shape grain should be available, and well-filled grains of uniform color. For this, you need to have a grader and separate the well-filled grains, and free from musty or other undesirable odor. So once any moisture contamination is there, the grains become musty and undesirable odor comes. And the grain should be practically free from live pests, and also practically free from noxious or harmful seeds in amounts that could be harmful to human health. And it should be free from uric acid. So we developed the standards for the whole grain and dehilled grain. Sorghum, pulse millet, and finger millet are the three millets which are consumed as whole grain. Remaining millets like brown top, fonio, crab finger, teff, foxtail millet, proso millet, podo millet, etc. These millets are polished into a dehilled millet, and these polished millets are consumed as cooking like rice and our other products. So what we need to see is whether it is a whole grain or a dehilled grain or a polished grain. We call it as millet rice. So the standards should be, the parameters should be maintained. So that is why the millet consumption will increase once you follow the standards by sending it to the supermarkets through the producer. So what we need to have is we need to create a lot of awareness about this FSSAI standards and also grades of the grain, and to the producers like farmers or farmer producer organizations. So here the finalized standards which are submitted by IIMR to the FSSAI were discussed at length at FSSAI serial panel, scientific panel meetings, and they have finalized the parameters which are presenting now. And these parameters now they came into the form of a gadget. And in the recent Sri Lanka conference held in March 18th, the Honorable Prime Minister has released the FSSAI coffee table book, and that book contains the standards, these FSSAI standards of millets, and also flours of sorghum, bajra, and finger millet. So when we see the parameters, the moisture content should be 13% for whole millets and 14% for little millet, whole millet, and 12% for the polished millets. And extraneous matter less than 1%, and by mass of which 0.25% by mass is mineral matter, and 0.10% is mass by impurities of animal origin, and other edible grains not more than 2%. And defects like grains with serious defects, grain in which the cotyledon has not been affected by pests, slight traces, moldy or decayed grains, or cotyledon staining, percent by mass is 1%. And grains with slight defects like grains which have not reached normal development, grains which extensive seed coat staining without the cotyledon being affected, grains in which the seed coat is wrinkled, all these type of grain should be 7%. Weevilled grains, only 4 grains should be there for 100 grains. And immature and shriveled grains not more than 5% by mass. So that means 5 grams in 100 grams. Uric acid 100 milligram per kg is allowed. So the brief of this standard is given below. This East African standard specifies the requirements of sampling and test methods for finger millet grain of varieties. And like that, each country has certain specific standards. So India is exporting to Kenya on the given products is 0.05 million USD during 2016 and 17. Why I'm giving this figure is because the millet farmers should know that the millets have a lot of potential to export to the African countries. So coming to the foreign matter. So all organic and inorganic material that other than maize grain, broken kernels, all that is called organic and inorganic material. Inorganic matter like stones, glass pieces, pieces of soil and other mineral matter. Organic matter, any animal or plant matter, seed coats, straws, weeds like that. Damaged grain, whether it is any grain, maize or all cereal grains, inorganic extraneous matter or other harmful toxic states. Filth means impurities of animal origin. Density should be maintained as per the expression of kilograms of per hectoliter. And grains that are sprouted, pested, or weather damaged grains should be removed. So this is a certain standards that are given by given for finger millet by Kenya, country Kenya. So these are the different standards by different countries. So the clean grain, how it should be, I'm giving a picture here, sorghum grain. Like this, all grains should be uniform in size, no diseased grains. There should not be any stone particles, sand particles, or glass particles, or anything. So, foxtail millet, little millet, this is rice, rosa millet rice, and kodo millet rice. This is buckwheat, round top millet, barnyard millet, amaranth grain. So when you see, these are the crop photos, how they look. So the ultimate aim is the consumer should enjoy the quality of the food. So on the basis of that, the quality of grains of millets that are coming into the market, the consuming ratio of millets will increase day by day, and the